Once upon a time, in a beautiful family home, the wife would stay home, take care of the children, man the house, tidy up the house, and cook for the whole family, while the husband go out, work, earn money, and bring home the dough.
Well, Sazzy, times have changed.
And for the better, may I add.
I do agree. Today, on today's show, we're going to be talking about stay-at-home dads. Hi everyone, you're watching Women Talk Season 3. I'm Deborah.
And I am Sazzy, and today we are going to be talking about a topic that I'm very interested and excited to talk about, which is stay-at-home dads.
Yeah, let's welcome our two guests. We have Sukan Jaruyotin. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Happy to be here.
And we have Henway as well. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's jump straight in. Tell us a little bit about your experience. Like, what was your... I mean, I don't think you grew up in your late teens or early 20s thinking, yeah, I'd like to, you know, be a stay-at-home dad. What was that like? What was the decision or choices that you made in your family?
How did it happen?
Well, I'll start.
Yeah.
So basically for me, it was not like planned, but then when I got married with my wife, she got a chance to move here to Malaysia, and the first 2 years I was lost. We didn't know what to do. And then 2 years later, we have the first kid. And then once he came, that's when I realized that maybe this is something that I have to do, because we moved to Malaysia because of my wife's work. So basically that's what happens. And then, and then 2 years later I have another one. And then because of her job, the nature of her job, she moves a lot. So therefore it's probably easier for her to be out there. And I'm staying at home. It took quite some time to understand, to realize that this is how it is, but it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. And what about you, Henry? What's your story? How did it come about? You being stay-at-home dad?
Yeah, I didn't plan it either. But it came about because my wife, when she gave birth to our daughter, and she had postnatal depression. She was really feeling very depressed. So I decided to just quit my job and let her be the safety net. And then I stayed at home and helped to take care of the baby around the clock.
I see.
So that's how it started. I was a graphic designer with a small firm in KL. And yeah, I was on my way up. How
long did it take for you, for your wife to get better?
Well, to get better, years, I think. I mean, she's a lot better now. She still has, I mean, the depression still hits once in a while because life has totally changed once she's become a mum.
And that's the reality, that's the fact, right? After COVID, right, like what I found funny was that you had a situation where everyone was at home. And so whether you worked or didn't work or whatever it was, everyone was sitting at home. And so by default, you ended up spending more time with the family and with the children. And so you had this quite a funny phenomenon of a lot of fathers out there who had typically never done any housework, taking care of the kids, groceries, none of that. You could see they were like in supermarkets on the phone. What do I buy? What do I do?
That was my husband.
So it was a massive learning trajectory, right? What are your thoughts on that for parents?
Once you've been doing it for quite some time, you kind of realize that, yes, your wife is out there, you're at home, but you actually, when you think about it, you're part of it. You're part of her success. Whatever your wife is doing, you're part of it also. It's not like she will not be where she is today or the kids will not be without you. So that's when I kind of realized also in the way that when husbands or fathers and all that usually think, okay, you know, wife is staying at home, what do they do? Now I know exactly what do they do.
Thank you.
It's not a simple job as most men think.
Because it's interesting perspective, right? Very often when you look at something from the outside, we always, you know, undervalue it or take it for granted. But when you're actually in there, you realize when you say it's not a no job situation, it's a big job situation.
But what I want to know is, like, what were the challenges that you faced in the beginning when it comes to taking care? When your wife started going back to work, how old was the first baby? Hugo, right?
Yes, she had a 6 months maternity leave, and after that, it's all kind of me. But then again, being at home, that is one thing, but I was saying to you before that it's more to do with the society, how they accept you.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's more challenging than being at home. Family and friends is fine, but sometimes when you're out there, you're in a taxi, and then they suddenly say, "Oh, what do you do?"
How do people perceive you,
Yes,
right?
and then when they say, "Look, I'm staying home," and kind of the conversation kind of like, okay.
How was the reaction so far, usually?
Now I accept it. I accept it. I don't care how people look at me because I know what I do at home, so I have no problem.
Yeah. And what about you, Henway? What were your, perceptions on looking at other dads coming out of COVID, or did you notice anything interesting about other men here in Malaysia?
Coming out of COVID, I mean, I did notice a lot more friends were cooking. A lot
Everyone
more,
was a chef.
Yeah. A lot of men were like,
Buying groceries.
Yeah, buying groceries, and they suddenly. I had a few friends that were like suddenly becoming great cooks at home. They were like baking and things like that, and then a lot of them didn't want to go back to work. Right? Some of them didn't want to go back because of the time stuck in traffic, and then a lot of that time could be spent at home with the kids and things like that.
Yeah. So suddenly you become the pro, and your friends probably have asked you for advice during that time, huh?
I do get questions.
Well, we'll go more into that, but we're going to go for a short break, and don't go away. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We're still on the same topic, of course. Stay-at-home dads. Let's dive deeper, Deb.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, I mean, and you were saying this earlier, Sukan, when you do tell someone what you do, and you say, I stay at home and I take care of the kids, we know it's laced with judgment, like whether it's a male, whether it's a woman, old, young. A lot of people have preconceived notions and ideas. So when we talk about breaking stereotypes, right, that's what it's about.
Yes.
People actually kind of throwing these old ways of thinking out the window. But what are those conversations like for both of you? Have you had them? Do you kind of just go, never mind, like I'm not going to react? Or do you actually engage in a conversation with people to get them to see things a little bit differently?
Yes, like I said, the first time when I was staying home dad, I'm in Malaysia already. So with the Asian culture, it's a little bit different or difficult. But I used to come up with certain examples or not lies, but just to say things that, yes, I'm doing this and that.
Right.
I'm trying to come up with the idea. I'm working on my business, but actually, I'm just going home and be with the babies.
Yeah.
But then again, as I said earlier, at the end, that's what it is. And like as time goes by, when people ask me what do I do, I just tell them this is what I do. I'm proud of doing it. Actually.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to try and educate people. So what do I do at home?
Right.
Cooking, sending the kids to school, taking care of them, playing with them, taking them to the park, things like that. Just washing, cleaning, all these things that make the family.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing with toxic masculinity, right? Like, when I was reading this article earlier, and this man said, a misconception that being a man means being the breadwinner. The idea that my masculinity is tied to my job is a myth. And that a job isn't just about a paycheck, it's about responsibility. And I thought that was really so important, because I think that hit the nail on the head. At the end of the day, it's, as a mom, as a dad, as parents, it's your responsibility to your family, to your kids, in whichever way. It's not just going out there and working. That's one way, but it's not the only way, right? And breaking down this idea of toxic masculinity, like to be a man, you need to bring home the money.
I mean,
know?
That's one thing I don't think, I try not to say, or I don't even say it at all at home. It's like, stop, be a boy, be a man. I don't tell my son that. I don't tell my daughter you have to be a lady.
Yeah, we have that in common.
Yeah.
I say that too. We don't say this kind of thing at home. It just probably it's like a natural come to us. So we don't say that at home. Like for us, it's like just lost for words.
Yeah.
But I like that. It's like, breaking down the stereotypes. Once upon a time, like, don't run like a girl, or you run like a girl. All those things. Now we're being very careful saying all those little phrases.
Those things kind of like break down the character of what they are actually supposed to be. Because the children they're young. they're malleable. We don't want them to, we don't want to put this kind of box for them. We want them to become who they want to be or who they can be. So I've always tried to encourage them to just be as fluid as possible, as a person, you know, a good person, good people. That's what I try to encourage them.
I can definitely imagine it's changed how you parent.
For sure.
Yeah, because we spend more times at home than the mom or than the wife. But like he said, that we are trying to get the kids to see things differently. Like my son sometimes, you know, like I ask them, what do you want to do when you grow up? Oh, I want to stay home and cook and clean just like you. They say, well, you just have to find the right one. Then there's someone that understands. Because at the end of the day, the stereotype for women is just to stay home, right? I guess.
But that's so interesting you say that, because that is your kids also. They want to be what they see.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
When they spend a lot of time with dad, you know, they want to be just like you.
Yeah.
But sometimes I say to them, no, actually you have to go out, whoever that is. If your wife is better at work, you stay at home, you work it out. If you're okay with that, if your wife is better, you go out and you stay at home and all that. That's what happened with us, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to let them go out
you
got to let them go out and try and see what they want to be. The whole world is out there for them to do.
Absolutely.
You know, I like what you shared, and true enough, breaking down the stereotype. Like, for instance, when my boy cries, I'm never going to say, don't cry, you're a boy. But I'm just curious, like, how was it when it came to your family members? Were they accepting? What were their thoughts?
Interesting one, that one.
Well, personally, I came from a more of a matriarchy, I would say that, because my mom was the one that was working. So my mom was the one out working more often. And my dad, who's a teacher, he took care of us like half the day.
That's amazing.
Because he work in the mornings, and then after that, he would take care of us, me and my sister, the other half of the day. So to me, taking the role of caring for the kids, it didn't seem very unnatural to me.
There you go.
As for me, I think that because my wife is she's Caucasian, so for me it's more difficult in the way that I have to prove to her friends and family that how can I say that I am actually doing something at home. It's not like I'm staying at home doing nothing. I always have a point to prove that you know, like your wife is out there, your daughter is out there. I'm making sure that when she's come home, she doesn't have to do anything else. Everything is done. So it's more difficult in that way. I don't know how to explain, but
I get you. Yeah. It's that you, and often women also feel this, right? And that was a conversation. A lot of working mums who feel that they have to prove that they're good mums. So you have the situation where you work, and I don't know if your wife has experienced this, but you work and you come home and sometimes you feel inadequate, like I'm not at home enough, I'm not with the kids enough. But it's a sense of I need to prove that I'm worthy.
Yeah, especially when you're a man, you need to prove that. I even get to the point, and sometimes that I don't want to do anything. I feel like if I am, you know, like I will often say to my wife that if I want to go to have a 1 hour massage, I feel bad. Because I'm a man. You know, like I should be out there like, working.
How do I downtime?
But why should I? We still, like I said before, that
that's
the
an
ego,
interesting.
we have an ego there that we just have to make sure that what we do at home is kind of, you know, perfect. That when wife come back, she doesn't say why it's not this, it's not, which I'm sure that our wives will not say that, but you know what I mean.
They probably think that you deserve it.
But that's really interesting, because it goes to show you that, you know, actually everyone's human at the end of the day, because obviously the vast majority are, you know, the situation where the men are the ones working and women are, you know, have the conversation of, oh, if I'm a stay-at-home mom, if entering the workforce. So it's quite interesting to know that actually when the roles are reversed, people all actually feel the same things. We're still humans at the end of the day. We all feel the sense of worthiness. We feel the sense of guilt. They're actually a common emotions that go across men and women. So interesting. Well, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back after this.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Women Talk, and we're talking about stay-at-home dads with two stay-at-home dads. So I want to go into, you know, thanks so much for sharing all the experience so far, but what were the blessings? What are the blessings that you feel that you've gotten by being stay-at-home dad? Let's start with Henry, maybe?
Stay-at-home dads. Blessings, well, I guess being at home and always being able to be there for my children was like the number one thing. Learning how to cook was another.
New skill unlocked.
New skill unlocked. Yes, level up. But being able to see my children, you know, I've had friends tell us that, you know, it's okay, they're young. They won't remember anything, you know. But now, being there for the past 8 years, I think every second, every moment that I was there actually really mattered to them.
Yes.
Yeah. It mattered to me too. So.
Wow.
Yes, yes.
And Sukan?
Yeah, for me it's basically the same, you know, the first words, first walk and all of that. And sometimes you feel like you wish that, you know, your wife who is actually out there, you know, like trying to make a living for all of us and make our life comfortable. I wish that she was there, but like, and we would say that we are blessed in that way.
Yeah.
More than we can imagine. Yes.
I feel like now's a good time to be like to ask you, what would you say to fathers at home watching? I mean, you know, perhaps very different situations from both of you. They perhaps work a lot, or they're not at home a lot, or even if they are home, they may not even think it's important to spend time with kids. What would you say to them?
They're only this small once, and they're only going to be at home, and they're only going to want to be hugged and kissed by you for this short period. Once they get into their teens, they're going to want to. Yeah, they're going to be wanting to be with their friends.
They don't want to be with you.
Yeah. So I'd say just cherish this moment when they're so young and so tender, and just be there for them.
Yeah. What about you?
But for me, I feel like we are fortunate and blessed in the way that we get this opportunity. My wife often said to me that she wishes that she was the one. But for those dads out there that's staying home, like he said, that they're trying to cherish all the moments. You know, thank God for this technology. We can take photos, videos, can send to your loved one when she's in the meeting, and you know. So it's trying to
I feel like the lesson here is like also active parents, you know, whatever your situation is at home, it's how do you be a more active parent? How do you be more engaged with your child's life, right?
Correct. But just now, Henry, you were sharing that people were saying, oh, they're too young, they won't remember. Those are very important years, that 0 to 7, because those things that happen to them, or the things that they go through between the ages of 0 to 7, is what they will become. So when you said that, it just hit that mark, because you're right. And you know what? All your children are so blessed to have their fathers be at home and be with them and go through life with them in that very young age.
And also another article I was reading, and we were talking about this a little bit earlier, it was in Sweden. So Sweden, if you don't know, actually gives paid paternity leave for 240 days to both parents. So that's pretty much most of the year.
That's a long time.
They have this policy of use it or lose it. So, hey, we're going to give it to you. If you don't take it, it's gone, right? And so what you saw a lot of fathers actually taking the leave, paid paternity. Why wouldn't you, right? And they were spending time with these babies, their babies. And they loved it. They loved it. It actually says that really pushed men out of the workforce and into the home. So a legal policy that the government put into place actually shifted culture in the country. And you had a whole wave of men actually going, wow, we love spending time at home with our families. We love being with our kids. So I found that to be very interesting, because you can look at, say, Malaysia, where if you were to change things like paternity, maternity leave, made it paid, extended it, that could actually do a world of good.
Change dynamics at home.
The whole dynamics could shift, because dads are actually going, hang on a minute, I really enjoy this.
Because clearly that happened during the pandemic as well.
To a
lot
degree,
of husbands were like, hey, actually, this is so enjoyable. I didn't realize how much time away I was spending from my children. So
it sounds like the dads just need a chance. Right?
Yes.
Rather than just the 2 weeks paternity leave that we get here.
Like, who said a father wasn't critical to her child's life? You know, who put these things into place, right?
Exactly.
And we've been socialized into it until now.
Yeah.
When you speak to some of your guy friends in different such situations, do they kind of go like, hey, you know, like, I'd like a few of those days that you have?
No, no. I think that they find that it's too they find it difficult, I think.
To understand it?
To understand and even to do it, because like me, like for example, when I travel with my 2 kids, you know, like back to France or whatever, and I'm the one with the 2 young kids, and suddenly, you know, you have all the help in the world, or the flight attendants will come and say, if you need any help, let us know. As if I don't know what to do. But that's how it is, right? That's how they perceive us being a dad. Probably have no idea with 2 young kids, but you know, that's how it is. But it's fun, actually. I'm encourage the dad, if they could, if they think that they are better at home, stay home and enjoy this. I think that I'm blessed with my wife, so in a way, yes.
Yeah. Have you ever imagined, like, you know, in another life, if I work, how different things would be? Have you ever put yourself through that? Like, what if I wasn't a stay-at-home dad? How different would it be? Have you ever thought of that?
The thoughts have come up.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think I wouldn't change it for the world.
You wouldn't change it?
Wouldn't change a thing.
And it's amazing, anyway, with the how advanced our technology is. You can work at home now, anyway, and you do graphic design.
Yeah.
Something you can do and still be with the children.
Exactly.
Right?
It's easier these days.
Balance,
Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for being on the show and sharing with us today. It's all about breaking down those stereotypes, and you know, as you were saying earlier, it's like having a chance to be able to experience, be exposed to, and realize that, hey, we should all be active parents in our kids' lives. You know, that's why we have kids.
Thanks so much for being candid. Yeah, that's what it is.
Thanks, guys, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you very soon. Take care.